Right, welcome to this deployment tactics video for the Tau Empire. It's a chance to take the list that I've talked about previously and we've run through it in detail in the complete army video. That's the latest points values from Games Workshop, also the latest update from them covered as well, just with the rules changes for Cadian and spotting targets, guiding units and so on. So all of that taken into account, the final list there at 2,000 points for the Tau. A chance though in this video to take that list and then show you how it deploys on the battlefield. It's great to have a list and great to have a theory about how you're going to use it on the board, but how actually do you deploy it when you're in a gaming situation is the question. So what we'll do is I'm going to run through the list briefly here for the Tau, just so you know what I've got. There should be a full list in the video description below, so you're welcome to copy it, adjust it, and see how you get on, and then we'll switch over to the battlefield, which we've got set up here, and then show you how the army deploys. And then I guess we'll go beyond the deployment phase as well. We'll be talking about further on in the game, the plans for each of the units and so on. So for the Tau, stick with Cadian detachment, and then we have two commanders, one commander in an enforced battlesuit with quad fusion blasters, Commander Ghost Tired, taking two shield drones to boost up his wounds. Then two shield drones being taken on the second Tau commander on the Cold Star. That's Commander NATO. Quad plasma rifles for him. The idea is that each of these two will go with a bodyguard unit of Crisis battlesuits. The Sunforge team across here with double fusion blaster each. Quad fusion blaster on him, so they'll link up together. Drones is a gun drone, marker drone, and then a shield drone on each of the models. Same drones here with these, the fire knife configuration, double plasma rifle being taken on each of those models, two squads of three. Piranhas, either run them as a full squad of three or split them up into individual models. Same with the broadsides, heavy rail rifles, twin plasma rifles, smart missile system, or a seeker missile being taken on each of those. Missile drones being taken, and then one marker drone in that unit. Piranhas taking the fusion blaster and two seeker missiles on each of those, and double gun drone each as well. There's a ghost kill in the list, cyclic iron raker, twin fusion blaster on him, and then two squads of fire warriors with pulse rifles, cadre fireblade, ethereal. Both of these models taking drones, shield drones. Breaches, they'll go inside a devilfish. Two stealth teams, there's a fusion blast on each of those squads of three. And then finally adds a devilfish with two seeker missiles, and then two hammerheads with rail guns and two seeker missiles, smart missile systems. So that's the list. I've talked about the theory of the list in the previous video, the complete army video, so do check that out. What we'll do now is we'll head over to the battlefield and then we'll start our deployment moves. So just getting ready to bring on the first of the Tau units. The battle mat that we're using here is from gamemat.eu. This one is 60 by 44 inches in size, so it's perfect for your games of 10th edition. And it's called Fallout Zone. You can get it in different sizes. You can also get this mat with the deployment zone markings and the inch markings running around the edge. That's really handy for, I mean, I've used dice across here, but it comes with the faint markings for you just to make seeing where deployment zones are during deployment, but also in the middle of the game as well, things like secondaries. So wide options or wide variety of mats available. This one comes in all shapes and sizes. I think you can get it as part of a double-sided mat deal as well with gamemat.eu. And then we're also using the industrial terrain set. We've mixed it up with some GW terrain here. But the industrial terrain set, that's these containers. You get 4 of those. You get a large structure. You get a load of boxes and barrels with it as well. And that building over there is an individual piece. It's the warp portal. So gamemat.eu for supplies of battle mats, all shapes and sizes. And then your pre-painted terrain sets available from them as well. Links below. There's also an 11% off discount code that you can use, and they are shipping worldwide. So with the terrain, these sealed buildings are playing as obscuring, just to give you an idea of how we're going to deploy. So an obscured building here. We play these as obscuring, just to spread the obscuring around the board. That combination across there. That whole structure across there, just so you know, for deployment purposes. So I'm looking to deploy a ground force to fire at enemy targets and soften them up. And then I've got some probing units that will push out onto no man's land objectives carefully and cautiously when the opportunity arises. And then finally I've got my ambush units. And we've talked about this previously. The ambush units to arrive where they're needed, either to support my lines or usually to try and go for the no man's land objectives. It's crucial we take the middle ground. We've got to do that by clearing the enemy away with decent firepower. So first units I would place is, I'm trying not to give away where I'm placing my good stuff and my battle plan and so on. If I put out heavy guns first of all, then the opponent can react by deploying somewhere else. So I want to try and keep those off the board for as long as possible. So I'm going to deploy units like these, just fire warriors across here, units that aren't too important. So I'm going to go Cadre Fireblade with the breachers, and they'll go inside the transport. Ethereal's going to join one of the fire warrior teams. The commanders will go with their appropriate squads, and he'll go with his squad, and there's his drone. And then I'm going to declare my reserves and deep strikers. So usually I will flank or go into regular reserve with the piranhas, and usually we just turn a model over so it's marked out for the opponent. So flip him over. I'm going to deep strike with these, and you always do that. Deep strike with the other team as well. They're my back pocket reserve options. So that's deep strike, regular reserve, and then usually I'll start the game with all of this stuff on the table to try and get firepower superiority as early as possible. So I might go with a stealth team actually. They do have infiltrate, but I don't want to risk them. Usually I don't. And I want to go somewhere where I can move them out, and then they can get some good lines of sight to help guide other units. So I might tuck these in here behind this obscuring terrain. It doesn't really give anything away to the opponent as to what my overall plan is. I've set them there so they're able to appear there, or at a stretch I can go to that end and see down there. So that's the idea with those. I just might put them just in the middle a bit more. So they can jump left, jump right, jump back. Nice spot, not really giving away my overall game plan. So first of those, the opponent then puts a unit down. I may then go for a strike team, and I want this team to hold on to the objective, but I don't need to deploy on it, so I might just tuck these behind here. And again, I'm not giving away where my big guns are going. I want to try and keep the opponent guessing for as long as possible, so I'm just putting down less important units if I can. So they've gone there. Then the opponent deploys a unit. I'll go with another stealth team. I've got that angle covered. I've got that one. I might tuck another one just over here. Well, I've seen a little opportunity actually. I could infiltrate there, and I'll go for that. I'm right on that objective of those. It's not usually their priority, but it looks quite safe in there. We've said that's obscuring terrain, so I'm just going to put those over there. If trouble comes, I'll hop behind there. If the opportunity's there, I can grab the objective, but I've tucked those away. The opponent's got to put another unit, and then we'll go another strike team. I don't want to give away what I'm up to here. So we have a home objective, just to point these out. There's nearly always one in the middle of the board. There's one over here, and there's one over there. I've identified that one as quite likely. It's quite quiet over there. Could be any of them, but I'm just looking, I'm watching the opponent's deployment. I reckon that's going to be a quieter part of the board. I could have a unit of these quite happily. Just head off towards that objective. No rush, but they can follow up and head across that way. And things quieten down, so I'm going to deploy those just there. So I've gone ahead and pressed on with my deployments for the rest of the units. Just I went for the softer, less important stuff first, just to try and see what the opponent's up to, not give away what I'm trying to do. Usually, not always, but I have these as an anchor point on the home objective. And the advantage here is if I deploy at slightly exposed, I've got some pretty good angles protecting me from much of the enemy force. But it sets me up with a good corridor of firepower straight away. I may not need to move, which means I'll get the heavy keyword with these, the broadsides, and then I can firepower 5 of these a little bit more accurately. See, I've got my stealth team just on standby. They can swing around and help me out when the time arises. So they're sitting there. There's plenty of wounds, nice lot of toughness with those. Then trying to stay out of trouble until I can get into a better position. I've got a hammerhead just here, so it can come around and lend some firepower support as the opportunity arises, or I've got firepower that's not obscuring, so it could fire across there if needed. So they're to hang around at the back, stay out of trouble, and then just look for good angles on the ball just to pick on one target at a time. Same with this hammerhead, I can bring it out as and when I need to. Just to, I mean, that's good. Another spot here is quite good for the hammerhead to support in that direction. Then inside this is the devilfish. Like the stealth team, it's ready to head off in either direction with its eyes on either that objective or perhaps the central objective. Equally, I could have tucked it in here to then move across towards this objective. Then let's say this part of the table is quieter, depending on how the deployment goes. Infiltrated in here with the ghost kill, and it's got its eyes on that objective, ready to make a move on top of that. If I can, if the coast is clear, depending on how it goes. If there's a threat, then I'm going to pull it back, try and keep it out of trouble, keep enemy units outside of 12 inches, just so I can take advantage of lone operative. So, defensive block, sniping tanks, stealth teams ready to help with firepower, breachers ready to surge around to get onto objectives, ghost kill to take advantage of that as well. And then as the opponent comes forward, which inevitably they will, to counter them and to go after these objectives, I have my reserves. So they're inside their transport. And then I can deep strike in turn 2 onwards with the crisis team, the fire knife configuration for Commander NATO. That's my anti-heavy infantry unit. Deep striking in turn 2 onwards. And then anti-vehicle as and when I need them. It's the Sunforge combo here with the Enforcer battlesuit. They can come in turn 2 onwards as well. So anti-vehicle, anti-heavy infantry, I'll keep those in my back pocket, just waiting for the right point to strike during the game. And the main plan is to clear and then hold those middle objectives 1, 2 and 3. And then to support my firepower, so I've got one hammerhead and I'll try and take down a land raid, need a bit of help. I'll flank and turn up with these just to lend their firepower support with the Seeker missiles, the fusion blasters, handy little ambush units. They're cheap enough. If I do split them up, I can send them off little errands, picking up points for me with secondaries. So main plan for the tower, dominate the board with firepower immediately, turn 1. That's why I've got a nice lot of heavy firepower on the board straight away. Double hammerhead, and then the broadsides of their firepower. Then get onto objectives cautiously, and if the opportunity arises, with the ghost kill, and then a surge onto it with the devilfish and the breachers, and then soften the opponent up in the early stages. Then mid part of the game, ambush and destroy. That's with my deep striking crisis battlesuit teams, the piranhas contributing as well, and hopefully just crippling the opponent so they're not effective at fighting, and then cutting large chunks out of them, which I can then, when the coast is clear, because we're paranoid about melee, I can then start moving on to objectives. So it is key that we have decent firepower at the back, but also that ability to push forwards, deep striking in to as quickly as possible when it's safe to do so, and capture those central objectives. And then if you can do that and dominate the table, then you should go on to win the game. So that's the tactics for the tower. For a full list breakdown, check out the previous video for the complete army video. That will give you all the points values, the theory behind the lists, a deeper dive into the units there, and that combines with this video where I'm showing you how the list actually deploys on the table. Leave us your comments and feedback if you change any part of this list, any tactics here you change as well. And then for Discount 40K, it's gaming figures if you want to get into collecting tower. So link for them in the video description below. And then check out gamemat.eu for supplies of battle mats, pre-painted terrain. Thanks for watching. Tune in next time.